Hi everyone. I was lucky enough to get to translate the game we'll be talking about today, so I'm very happy to be here.
You might know him.
Hello everyone. My name is Asia Onuma. Do you know me?ここからちょっと日本語にしたらする。We'll be again this one. 私、ね、このゼルダを作り始めてすごい長い年月経ってますけど、メディアの皆さんの前で話すことがあっても、こうやってファンの皆さんの前で話すのは今回本当に初めてです。So I've been working on Zelda for a long time, and this title specifically, but you know, this is the first time I've actually been able to speak in front of not just the media, but actually, you know, directly to fans. Now, 今年の夏、Wind Waker HD を発売して、でそれからですね、もうすぐ発売になります。A Between Worlds。これ、やっとですね、つい、先週ぐらいです。作り終えることができました。これをその話を今日ここで皆さんにできることは今とっても幸せです。So as you probably know, we just had the Wind Waker HD come out at the end of the summer, and not so much longer now we'll be having Between Worlds come out, and we actually just finished making the game about a week ago. Being able to be here in front of all of you and talk about it makes me incredibly happy.
So before we jump into our main topic, let's talk really quickly about The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker HD. Mr. Onuma, tell us what it was like to remaster this classic Zelda title.
皆さんもう遊んでいただきましたか? Have you played it?
Yeah.
まあね、ゲームキューブで十数年前に作ったものをこの、Wii U で、HD 化して作ったタイトルですけど、発売してからシングルごとにもミーバースの投稿を皆さん本当に活発にやっていただいてて、僕も毎日見てるんですけれども、とてもそれは嬉しく思います。
So as you know, this is the remake of a GameCube title. It's more than 10 years old now, but with some of the new features like the Tingle Bottle, where you're able to upload your messages to Miiverse. I've been reading those every day and just been very pleased by what I see.
中には例えば誰かが行き詰まったりするのをフォローしてくれてるような書き込みがあったりとかして、みんなで一緒に一つのゼルダを遊んでるっていう感じがね、すごくしてとても嬉しい。
I'm really happy about the fact that you're able to share messages with each other, and it really feels like everyone's playing the same game at once.
まだこれからもずっと楽しんでもらえると嬉しい。
And I hope you continue and do it for a long time to come.
So we recently hosted a contest on our Nintendo Facebook page asking fans to submit artwork in celebration of the launch of the Wind Waker HD. So let's go ahead and take a look at this quick video.
シンクルボトルの投稿でもですね、皆さんメッセージだけじゃなくていっぱいこう絵を描いてくれてるんですね。
And I see a lot of people using the Tingle Bottles to not just send messages, but actually draw a lot of images as well.
でゼルダのミーバースの投稿っていうのは特にですね、他のタイトルよりも皆さんが絵を描いて投稿してくれているっていう数が多いような気がします。
It actually feels to me like the Miiverse communities for the Zelda titles have a lot more drawings than the other communities.
こういう形で皆さんが思い思いにゼルダの世界を描いてくれているっていう皆さんのファンの皆さんのクリエイティブな、パワーをとても嬉しいなと。
Being able to see everyone recreating the Zelda world so vividly in their art just makes me very happy that I have such creative hands.
中にはですね、本当に素人の人がアマチュアの人が描いたんじゃないんじゃないかと思うくらい本当に 僕が見てもこうなんていうのすごいなって思った作品がすごい多いですね。
Amidst them, there's a lot of works that I look at and I think it doesn't even really look like an amateur. It looks very professional.
So the artwork is really beautiful, but we can't play the whole video today just in the interest of time. So we'll go ahead and stop it here. The full video is on our Nintendo YouTube channel, so please go take a look if you haven't done so already. Our main event, which is all about The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. Mr. Amiba, can you give us an introduction of what fans can expect from this new Zelda game?
このリンク・ビトイン・ザ・ワールドっていうのは、リンク・トゥ・ザ・マストっていう今から20年以上も前のスーパーネスっていうゲーム機で出されてるんですけど、皆さんご存知ですか？
So this is a game that has a lot of relationship with A Link to the Past, the title that was brought out more than 20 years ago on the Super Nintendo. But how many people here have played that? Everyone who's actually played it, if they could just raise their hands.
Yeah! とっても皆さんちゃんと遊んでいただけてるので、詳しい話もあれですけれども、トップビューの、言ってみれば今3D のゲームが当たり前のようになってますけど、トップビューで遊ぶゼルダの典型的なタイトルでした。
So I mean, I don't really need to go into too much detail because you obviously know it very well, but you know, it was kind of a kind of classic Zelda top-down, top-view title.
でやっぱりね、ゼルダっていうのは頃に作ったその、ゼルダの遊び方っていうのがベースになって、その後 3D のゼルダ、飛びのオカリナとかどんどんそういうタイトルに変化していくわけですけど、そのベーシックなものにまた立ち返って、それをまた新しい形で遊んでもらえるようにしたのがこのA Link Between Worldsです。
And I think you could say that the Zelda from that time served as kind of a starting off point, a jumping off point for the 3D Zelda titles that came after it later. So I think now with Link Between Worlds we've been able to go back to that original starting off point and kind of try and go in a different direction.
いろいろ説明するのもあれなので、実際ここでバージョンをですね、ゲームをですね、デモプレイして。
So rather than talking about it, or just talking about it, let's actually take a look at some live gameplay.
Nintendo's playing over there. So the first thing he's doing is going into Rabio's shop where you can rent and buy items. So tell us about the rental system.
ここ今アイテムこれ多分ゲームの中で使うアイテムすべて最初からそうです。
So here you have the rental item shop where right from the beginning of the game you're actually able to rent all of the items.
今ボムをレンタルしました。
So as you can see, he just rented some bombs. Now
アイテムはレンタルしてもいいし買ってもいいんですけど、買うとすごく高いので最初はレンタルすることがあるんです。
Yeah, so you can rent items and buy them, but if you want to buy them, it costs you a lot of money. So you probably start out just renting them.
こうしてボムとそれから弓矢ですね。
So now he's got bombs and
表に出てきましょう。
So let's go outside.
従来のゼルダではですね、例えばボムでこう開けられるこういう洞窟とかはボムを手に入れてからでなければなかなかアプローチできなかったので、後半にどうしてもっていうことになったんですけど、今回で僕は自由にそういうものにアプローチすることができます。
So in previous Zelda games, bombs were always something you had to wait a while to get. So you know, those the kind of suspicious looking bomb walls are things you'd have to wait until a bit later in the game to inspect. But in this game, you'll be able to kind of poke around right away.
ね、ああやって妖精を最初に火に入れていくと何かあった時に安心ですよね。
Yeah, and if you're able to get them right away, you'll have an easier time.
これ今ハイライトの世界に開いたゲートからこれ 世界ですね、ローラルの世界。
So as you can see, Link just turned into a painting and used that ability to travel through a little gate into another world called Lower World.
この、もう一つの世界っていうのもアリントゥザマスと、ちょっと似たデザインのものもありますけど、今回は世界としては全く別の世界です。
So this kind of idea, this idea of having another world is also obviously something we had in Links in the past, but this time it's not the same Dark World, it's actually a different.
ローラルの世界っていうのはこうやってモンスターたくさんいますけど、人も住んでたりします。
So as you can see, Lower World has quite a lot of monsters, but mainly it's actually just people living there.
はい、今リンクはですね、壁の中に入ってこのキャラクターを手に入れました。
So as you can see, Link just merged into a wall in order to pick up this little collectible character.
これはマイマイって言って、これをたくさん集めることで、アイテムの性能をバージョンアップして、
And it's called a Mai Mai, and if you collect lots of them, you'll be able to upgrade your items.
はい、リンカもこの世界に戻ってきましたけど、これ誰かの家の中です。
As you can see, when you just came back from Lower World into someone's house.
はい、今ハートもらいました。 ゲートっていうのはローラルっていうそのもう一つの世界とそれからハイラルって両方にあるんですけど、それぞれが違う場所にあいてるので、ローラルでしか行けないところ、ハイラルでしか行けないところとかそうだします。
So you'll find those gates that allow you to travel back and forth both in Lower World and Hyrule, but there'll be places that you won't be able to access in Hyrule except for going by Lower World and vice versa.
そうですね、下の画面を皆さん見てほしいんですけど、実はマップが表示されてます。でこれタッチすることで拡大することもできて、その拡大した状態でもリンクがどこにいるのか常に表示してくれるので、それを見ながら冒険してください。
So as you can see, if you look on the bottom screen, you have a map, and then by touching it, you can zoom in and always be able to, take a closer look at your surroundings. So I think it would be very helpful while you're adventuring. Okay,
今怪しい動物に入りましたね。
and now we're in this weird cave.
これ先ほどのマイマイっていうののお母さんです。
This is the mother of Mai Mai, the little thing we just got.
でこの助けたマイマイを彼女に渡すとですね、バージョンアップしてアイテムを。
So if you bring your Mai Mai to collect to Mother Mai Mai, she'll upgrade your items.
ナイスコーになる。
You won't be able to tell what's nice about it until you use it.
はい。じゃあここはい。3本一気に打てますので、足やすくなりますけど。
So it makes it easier to hit.
で画面の横のゲージを見てほしいんですけど、今回弓矢は何発撃ってもなくなったりしません。
So if you could just look at the gauge on the left side of the screen there, with the bow this time, whenever you fire arrows, you don't actually have physical arrows, or they don't run out.
リンクが壁になったりする時もそうなんですけど、全てはこのゲージのパワーを使うことで可能になっていて、それがゼロになっちゃうとすぐにはできなくなっちゃうんですが、時間とともに回復します。
Similar to Link's wall merging ability, all of the items just drain that gauge, so when that runs out, you won't be able to use items for a little bit. はい、ここでちょっとですね、変わったダンジョンに入っていきます。 So let's take a look at a kind of interesting little dungeon.
ここはボスがいるようなダンジョンじゃなくて、宝が眠っているダンジョンなんですが、
So So this isn't like a regular big dungeon that has a boss. This is just a smaller place where you can find some treasure.
ここはそのリンクが絵になることでどんどんその、先ほど言った宝箱にですねアプローチする、
Yeah.
遊びのダンジョン。
So the kind of gimmick here is that you have to use Link's wall merging ability to get up to that treasure.
これ立体視でないとちょっとこの、リフトの構造がつかまえにくいんですけども。
So when it's not in 3D, it's actually kind of maybe hard to see how the lifts are moving.
こうやって壁に入って次の段に行ってっていくんですが、それではいけないところもあったりするので、よく考えてまた。
So yeah, you've got to kind of take your way through it and use your wall moving ability to get up on these platforms.
Hi. 過去にあんまり100ルピーっていうのは一度に手に入ることなかったと思うんですけど、今回アイテムを買ったりとかね、レンタルしてもらったりとか、ルピーをたくさん使うので、こういうたくさんルピーをこう集めてるような重要なゲームだったと思います。
So I think actually being able to find 100 rupees a lot in Zelda games was kind of a rare thing, but with this one, since you'll have to use so much money when you're renting and buying items, there's actually a lot more rupees to buy in the bigger amounts.
Really check this game out in 3D. We actually have the game playable on our booth, so after this you should definitely go play if you haven't gotten a chance to already. So now that we've taken a look at the game, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the inspiration behind it and also some development stories you have to share.
最初に、このリンクビトゥインズワールドっていうのはアリンクトゥザパストの頃の遊びを、今にこう蘇らせるような蘇らせて楽しめるようにしたっていうのをお話ししたんですけど。
So, as I was saying, something that we try to do with Link Between Worlds is to kind of go back to the original play style of the Link to the Past, that original fun, and bring it back.
実は最初からその続編にするっていうことで開発を進めたものではないんです。
However, it wasn't actually that we were from the beginning originally thinking of it as being a sequel.
さっきデモプレイでも見ていただいたようにリンクが絵になってこの壁を移動する遊びがまず最初にアイデアとしてあるので、これを生かすにはどうすればいいかということで、その続編にしよう。
So I think you saw in the gameplay demo that Link has this new ability to turn into a painting and merge with the wall, and that was kind of the first idea we had. And then when we were thinking about trying how to build a game around that, we eventually landed on doing a sequel to Link to the Past.
というのはその壁の中に入ると壁に入ったことを分からせるために横からのビューになるんですけど、普段いつも横からのビューの延長線でその壁に入っても何も驚くことはないんですが、トップビューでずっとゲームを進めながらサイドビューになってその壁に入るというところで見えてくるものがまた変わってくる。こういう遊びにするのが一番このゲームにとって一番いいだろうということで、そのベースをですね、そのアリンクトゥザパストのトップビューの世界と融合させることにしたわけです。
So I think you saw that when a Link merges into the wall, it goes into a side view. But if the whole game was just in a side view and then it stayed in that when you went into the wall, it wouldn't really be as interesting. So that's when we came up with the idea that, well, we could have like the normal view of the game be a top view. And then when you use the ability to switch into that side view to kind of give it something different, give you a different perspective on the world. And that's what led us to the idea of like kind of using like the Link to the Past world as a base.
ただですね、リンクトゥザパストの世界を、この 3D の世界に置き換えるというのはそんなに簡単なことではなかったんです。
But taking that Link to the Past world and turning it into real 2D was actually not that simple.
これ見ていただくと分かるように、さっきのデモプレイにもちらっと出てきましたけど、アリンクトゥザパストの中の東の神殿という場所も、フィールドですね。
So I think if you take a look at this, you can tell what it is, but it's the original bitmap, the original image from Link to the Past of the Eastern Palace, which is actually really visible in the game now.
当時は 2D ですから当然これは立体構造になってなくて、あれは全部見せかけの立体的な絵なんです。
So obviously it's a 2D image. It's not really rendered in 3D, but it's drawn so that it looks like it's 3D.
でこれを 3D にしなきゃいけないわけですけれども、なかなか当時、まだ開発が最初の頃だからデザイナーもいなくてですね、誰もそれを実現してくれなかったので、しょうがないので僕が自分で作って。
So obviously one of the first things we had to try doing was to take this and turn it into actual 3D, but this was very, very early on in the development, and there weren't any designers yet on the team. So since there was no one else to do it, I just tried to do it myself.
そのモデルが、向かって、皆さんから見て、右の方。
So the 3D model that you created, as you can see, is the one there on the right.
これほぼ同じに見えますよね。
I think it looks pretty much the same, right?
だからどこが立体になってるのかでほとんどよくわかんないと思いますけど、
And by looking at it like this, it's probably kind of hard to tell that it's actually in 3D now.
ちょっと寝かしてみましょう。
So let's
は
change the angle.
い。ね、ちゃんと立体的になってますよね。
So as you can see, it's actually in 3D.
ただですね、これもう少しまた回転させるとわかるんですが、
So there's something else to see if we rotate it a little bit more.
2D で立体的に見せるために手前の傾きと奥の傾きっていうのは絵的にこう変えてあったんですよね。
So in order to make a 2D image kind of look 3D, we kind of had to show either a little bit more of the front of something or a little bit more of the back.
だからそれを 3D にするとやっぱり手前の傾きが強い立体物になるわけです。
But when you actually make that into real 3D, that becomes kind of exaggerated, and as you can see, everything's a bit finer.
でそれが一体どういうことかというと、これ今普通のゲームのその画面ですけど、
So here's the actual game, an international game.
これもカメラを変えてみます。
But let's take a look at a different angle.
はい、右側ですけど、
So you can see that they're
全部傾いてますね。
so everything's kind of leaning backward.
ルビーも傾いてるんですけど、
The rupees as well.
これ普通に今普通に遊んでいただくカメラで見るとこういう形になってるんで、とっても不思議だなと思われると思いますけど、こういうことをたくさんこうつじつま合わせというか立体の世界の中で合わせていくっていうのは結構なハードルです。
So, I mean, I think it's obviously not something you're going to be able to see in the actual game, but this is the kind of thing that we had to do a lot of in order to try to recreate that original top view in real 3D. That was kind of the first big main hurdle.
発売前にこういう種明かしするっていうのはほぼ今までやったことがないので、皆さん周りの友達とか内緒にしておいてください。
So, I've never really talked about something like this before something goes on sale, so please try to keep it a secret.
Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at some never before seen footage in this new trailer.
I think as many of you know, the Zelda series has a history of having kind of two worlds appear in a game, a kind of front and back, or a light and dark.
で、アリントゥザパストの中にもやっぱり、もう一つの世界、これは闇の世界と言われてましたけど、ガノンがいわゆる捉えられた世界ですが、そういう世界が存在していました。で、今回はですね、実はその世界とはちょっとまた違います。
So, as you probably also know, from Link to the Past, we had the Dark World, which was kind of, where Ganon himself was sealed away. But this time, the other world is actually different.
このイラスト見ていただいても分かるように、お城がありますけれども、ハイラルにもハイラル城があって、ローラルにもローラル城があります。
So as you can tell from this picture, in Hyrule you have Hyrule Castle, but then in Lorule as well, you have Lorule Castle.
で、そこにはやっぱり、ゼルダ姫と、それからさっきちょっとちらっと名前出てましたローラル姫という、お姫様が登場します。
So, as there in Hyrule, you have Princess Zelda, and then Lorule has a princess of their own. Her name actually just came up a little while ago. Her name is Zelda.
先ほどの、ムービーでも最後、印象的にこのローラル姫というのはすごくお祈りを捧げてましたけど、2人ともお姫様なんですが、しかも国を思う気持ちというのはすごく強いお姫様なんですけれども、それぞれは違う境遇を持っていて、この物語の中で、その境遇の違いみたいなものが物語の中心になっています。
And you may have seen her there kind of praying at the end of that trailer, but naturally they're both princesses and they both have kingdoms and they're both kind of thinking about their kingdoms, but they also have kind of different desires, different motives, each to their own, and kind of how those interact and perhaps conflict is kind of the way the story develops.
でこの2人の間に入るのが先ほども、なんかこう怪しげな音楽とともに登場したユガというキャラクター。
And you may have seen these kind of suspicious-looking character who came in with that scary music. This new character who goes into Hyrule called Yuga.
そのデモの中にも、人をこの絵に変えてしまうようなことをやってましたけど、彼がいろいろ暗躍したおかげでこの、ハイラルのゼルダとそれからローダルの、ヒルダ運命的な出会い方をすることになります。
And you may have seen him there turning people into pictures and doing all sorts of wicked things, but the way he interacts with Princess Zelda and then also in Lorule Princess Zelda basically is what makes the story unfold.
これ以上は年末発売をお楽しみにしています。
But going into further detail is something I'd like to avoid, and I'd rather you enjoy it for yourself in the game when you get to play it.
Questions. So if you have a question, please go ahead and line up behind one of the two microphones in the room. We have staff members also ready to come down.
Christmas mic.
For me. Oh, there we go. Okay. You can go with the gentleman here in the amazing shirt. Yes. Go ahead.
How are you doing today? My main question that I had with how you're rethinking the conventions of Zelda, and going forward with A Link Between Worlds, and how you're changing into its play style. How does that go forward in terms of say the new Zelda for the Wii U? Are you gonna kind of revamp it or do it in a way where it's going to be new in terms of Majora's Mask, where it's traditional but new at the same time with a different feel?
Of course.
To the first one.
Okay. But I mean, is there anything in particular that you're going for in terms of with the way that you can just purchase items and go into a dungeon and just be okay, well I have this item, I can purchase it outright, or you can upgrade it or whatever. Is that going to be something that's going to be the step in going forward, or is it going to stick to being traditional? but do it at the same time? Or is it just going to be, you know what I mean? Or no, man. Okay. Which I know you can't really talk about it in the news all that stuff, but too much.
いろいろこのリンクトゥリトゥインワールドでもそうだし、あとウィンドウェーカー HD でも新しいことを、例えばその Wii U で実現できること、それから 3DS で実現できること、いろいろ新しいことをやってますけど、それらはこれから作る新しいゲームを作るそのベースになっていると思っておいてください。そこで実現していることをなんか先取りみたいな形で 3DS に応用したりとかしてますので、それが最終的にはまた全部融合された形で新しい Wii U のタイトルになっているので、くれたらいいと思います。
So I think you can see, the kind of things we're talking about in the Link Between Worlds, and then some of the things you saw in Wind Waker HD, where using the capabilities of the Wii U. You can kind of think of like a lot of those ideas as sort of like a base from where we're going to start with creating a new game. So yeah, you can kind of expect to see a lot of new things that you've seen be kind of further refined and developed in the next title.
Alrighty. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take the question on this side over here.
This mic is really low, so I'm not really short. I was wondering if you intend to return to the cel-shaded style of Wind Waker in any future games anytime soon.
Do you want him to?
Yes, very much.
He'll think about it.
Alright, what about you in the Super Mario 3D World amazing years?
I've heard a few reports that you can go through the dungeons in the Link Between Worlds in any order that you want because of the item system. So I was just curious how you can account for like a difficulty curve, seeing that you can go to any dungeon whenever you want.
やっぱりゲームの前半とですね、後半の難易度っていうのはもちろん前半はそんなに難しくなくて後半難しくなるっていう状態ですけど、なんていうのかな、難易度っていうのはその新しいアクションとか新しいそのアイテムでやるいろんなその新しいアクションみたいなものがそのダンジョンで初めて登場するようなものがたくさんフィーチャーされてますから、それに慣れていくまでっていうのはちょっと難易度が高くなったりするんですけど、ですから初めてのものに対しての歯応えみたいなものがそれぞれのダンジョンで別々にあってですね、それを楽しんでもらえるような形になっていると思っています。
I mean, I think generally you could say that the front, the kind of early half of the game and the latter half of the game are going to have a difference in difficulty. It's going to be even more difficult as the game progresses. But I think when you think about what it is that makes it difficult when you have new items in a new dungeon, it's kind of more just the idea that you have a new item that you have to get used to. So even though the items are all, with these dungeons too, even though the items are all available at the beginning, there's going to be new and different things in each dungeon that you're going to have to get used to. So in that sense, it really won't be that different.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
First off, I want to say that Link Between Worlds looks awesome. My question is kind of a shot in the dark. I like when Zelda gets really gritty and dark. I'm wondering, I know you produced Wind Waker in this new game, but I wonder if you have any information on Majora's Mask at all, because that was my ultimate favorite Zelda game. Please say the remake is on Wii U.
このね、アリンク・ビトゥイン・ザ・ワールドを遊んでみると何か分かるかもしれないです。
If you play A Link Between the Worlds, you may get an answer.
working on such a fantastic series, an important series. And I'm just curious, which of the other worlds outside of Hyrule were influential to making Lorule, and outside of A Link to the Past, which I know was the game that got you into game development, which of your other Zelda games, or any of the Zelda games, did you find the most enjoyable to work on?
ローラのデザインっていうのはやっぱり前作のその、アリンクトゥザパストの元になっているそのデザインを今にこう置き換えている。まあもちろんその世界と全く同じではないので新しくクリエイトしていくこともありますけど、ベースはそこから来ています。
I mean, I think really the base for Lorule is the Link to the Past Dark World. I mean, there's also lots of other new things as well, but that's kind of, you know, the main source there, I suppose. Sorry, what was your second question?
Which of the other games in the series was your favorite to develop for, or you have the most fond memories of developing for?
やっぱりね、開発してる時って一つのねタイトルを開発してる時ってもうそのことばっかりいつも考えて僕は生きてます。家に帰って、シャワー浴びててもずっとそのアイデアのこと考えたりしてて、やっぱりそういう生活をしてるとやっぱりどうしてもその時作ってるゼルダが一番好きなわけで、今は、まあ、終わりましたけどこのアリンクというワールドが一番、心に残っているタイトルですね。
I mean, you know, when I'm working on Zelda games, I'm kind of thinking about them 24 hours a day, nonstop. When I go back to my house, you know, the only thing in my head is the Zelda game I'm working on. So, since that's kind of the way I've always been living, it makes sense that for me that, you know, the one I just worked on, or the one I'm working on is always my favorite. So right now I would say it's A Link Between Worlds.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that is all the time we have left for questions. Thank you. So, The Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds comes out in the US on November 22nd. Any final thoughts?
いいですか？はい、今年ね、2つのタイトルを作り終えて今ここにいますけれども、
So, we've already had 2 Zelda titles come out this year.
本当にいつも思うのはウィンドウェーカーの HD もこれを作ることの意味っていうのはやっぱりファンの皆さんがそれを支持してくれることだとやっぱり思っていて、それがあるからいつでも新しいゼルダってものを僕は長く作り続けてられていると思ってます。
And I think, you know, I mean, with the Wind Waker HD as well, but I think the reason, you know, we were able to, you know, put out the 2 Zelda titles this year is because we've had the support of the fans, and with that continuing support, I really look forward to, you know, keeping on making new Zelda titles as well.
で
So if you are dressed in Zelda cosplay, please come up to the front and we'll take a group photo with you. So if you're wearing a Zelda costume, doesn't matter which Zelda, come on up here. Stand in front of the stage here.
It's a hospital.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
You're not discriminating. Take your way up.
So we'll go ahead and take a group photo. We'll be posting this photo on the Nintendo social media pages.
1, 2, 3, Zelda! Arigato gozaimasu! Woo!
Also catch it.
I'm on my lens scout. You guys are right?